A reading from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Next, we launched out on a course of vigorous action, the first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more people than anything else, and from it stems all forms of spiritual disease. The word of big book. Amen. This is one paragraph that's always stood out to me in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Is a little blue book. It's actually kind of small for being the big book. When I first read this phrase, our liquor was but a symptom. Alcohol is merely a symptom. It changed a lot for me. Because I thought if a person's going to go to AA or any kind of meeting to try to quit doing something, you just have to figure out how to quit doing the thing, right? And then you're good. No, that's only the first step. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous describes this as what's called a dry drunk. Let's say you go through your entire life without ever taking a drink. Good job. You followed the rules. You stayed sober. However, there could be absolutely no inner transformation, no spiritual awakening, and no reason for why you're avoiding the thing and following the rules. Our liquor was merely a symptom. So, whether it's alcohol, whether it's gambling, whatever the sin or addiction might be, merely avoiding it is the bare minimum. There are rules and things set in place for us to live a much fuller life of just avoiding something and following rules. This, I believe, is what the Pharisees are doing. They are following the traditions of the elders, which may or may not have been binding laws and rules. Basically, their whole way that they run religion is you have to follow the rules. Why? Because those are the rules. If we follow the rules and make others follow the rules, then God will like us. And then Jesus comes along, turns that concept on his head, and says, God already likes you. There are rules put in place for a very specific reason. It's not just because this is the way we've always done things. Following the rules is not just so we don't get in trouble. Following the rules is laid out for us in Deuteronomy, that you may live. The reason we have precepts and laws and rules and ordinances is not so that we don't get in trouble. It's not so that people will like us. It is that you may live. And as Christ came to do, he came to bring us life, and abundant life at that. Think of it like a ladder. The ladder has rungs. Each one of those rungs is firm and strong and immovable. If you put your entire body into one of the squares between the ladder, you're not going to go very far. But if you trust each step climbing upwards, you're going to get where you're trying to go, whether it's up to the attic to get Christmas lights, or whether it's up to the roof to put those Christmas lights up. This is not a denial of the vestments, the traditions, the rules, all the many things that the Catholic Church has to offer us. This is not a denial of that at all. It's rather an affirmation of asking the internal question of why. so that we may have life. What the Pharisees were trying to do with all the rules and precepts and traditions is put God in a box. If we do these things, then he will like us and we don't have to worry about anything. But the Lord already put himself in a box, and that's called the tabernacle. When he became the bread of life for us, when he gave his life, broke all the rules by spilling his blood and giving us his flesh to eat. So, if you're a child or a young adult and your parents ask you to do a chore, do carry it out, but you can ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it to avoid punishment? To make them like me? Or so that I may have life? If your boss or supervisor asks you to do something at work, do it, carry it out, but ask yourself, why am I doing this? To avoid punishment? To make them like me? Or so that I might have life? The rules and instructions that Jesus gives us, because he himself is the lawgiver, are always rooted in love and life. If you come up in your life against a rule or against a precept of the church that is difficult, look at it through that lens, through love, so that I might have life. And I pray that whatever traditions we choose to follow, whatever rules we follow, may be seen through that lens of love and life, rather than just doing the bare minimum to avoid punishment and to get God to like us, because he already does. Amen.